Good evening, everyone. William Mean here, 1799. Glad you come around. If you like this video, share, subscribe. It does not cost you anything, and I'm not asking for anything. Leave a comment down below, and let's get into this a little bit differently. The Supreme Court. When politicians, or I would say a political party, does not like the rulings of the Supreme Court, they attack it. For what reason? It's just like attacking Donald Trump. The Supreme Court upholds the laws of the Constitution. That's it. Clarence Thomas, Justice Thomas, I would say, ruled on your rights based on federal papers. I mean, that's for what I can see. I'm not a historian. You know, I love history and I love science. But he ruled basically, my assumption is on federal papers. Which Ortiz does not like that. Schumer does not like that. Pelosi does not like that. Adam Schiff doesn't like that. And so many other Democrats, and as well as Rhino Republicans. It's a shame, isn't it? Your rights belong to you. They were fought for. People paid a very heavy price for. They're the ones who wrote the Declaration of Independence. 56 signers signed it. They're also ones who worked on the Constitution of the United States. And to show why they did what they did, they added it in Federalist Papers. Look. When man decides they want to rule over another man, is that considered slavery? An interesting question, isn't it? When we can tell you you're not allowed to go here, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, is that freedom? No, that's slavery. No matter how you want to look at it. So when we turn around and we say, we decide what your rights are. Not God, not the people who fought for it, not the people who died for it, not the people who paid the price or wrote these documents out. It's what we tell you. Who is we? They call themselves politicians, and they are the majority that rules. It's called democracy. We are a federal constitutional republic. A democracy is when the people game together and they voice their opinion, or when they vote. When they vote for a particular individual in office, whether it be Biden, Harris, Trump, JFK Jr., whoever it may be. That's the freedom of it. That's democracy. But when the Supreme Court rules in a specific way because they read what he can understand, these politicians jump up and down and say, well, they're not historians, so they shouldn't be ruling that way. You don't need to be a historian to understand what the law is. This is the law. The Constitution is the law. So what's the problem here? The problem here is we want to control the Supreme Court. The problem here is Justice Thomas didn't come to us, the Democratic Party, or Congress, or Schumer, or Adam Schiff, or Ortiz, or anybody. You should have came to us and we would give you the decision whether to take the case, not case, or rule on how we decide you should rule. If that's the case, then what's the time to have the Supreme Court for? Imagine, and I was watching this just recently, going through some stuff here. The real estate case in New York against Donald Trump, ruled by Democrats, ruled by a state attorney general and a prosecutor who were all Democrat. He's a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're guilty. Now imagine some poor guy off the street goes to any local court around here and say, well, yeah, I'm a Democrat. Well, we're Republicans, you're guilty, regardless of how the case should rule. Is that fair? No. But that's what they're trying to do here. They want to control the Supreme Court so they make the decisions and pass the decisions down to the judge, and the judge will then pass it down to you. We elect people to represent us, whether you like our rights or not. You're supposed to uphold our rights. If we can take a driver's license, go from point A of this country all the way to the west, north, and south, Alaska and Hawaii, and you can honor that driver's license from New Hampshire or New Jersey, New York, or Florida, or Canada, or Oklahoma, whatever it may be. Not Canada, but you know what I'm saying. We can honor that driver's license. But when it comes to your rights, no, wait a minute here. We decide what your rights are. Is that a form of slavery? When your rights become a second class or a third class sort of situation, the question is now, are we free? Very interesting point, isn't it? So when Justice Thomas ruled in our favor about the firearm issues, these politicians have a heart attack, or when any other issue may come up. They want to control the Supreme Court. Now, when they drafted this Constitution, they realized that they're not going to be here for long. So they decided, we want to draft this document for generations to come, so all people can be free. There'll be changes. There'll be all those changes, but it'll be free for all people. Regardless of your race, your religious belief, they probably figured all that out. These politicians, no. They want to take the three branches of government and make it one branch of government. That's what they're trying to do here. And this rhetoric is saying that Trump is a Nazi, Trump is this, Trump is that, Trump's going to destroy the country, Trump's going to imprison everybody, Trump's going to assassinate and whatever, and the same thing with Biden, and the whole 9-yard nonsense. It's dangerous political rhetoric. The Supreme Court is separation of powers from the government. It cannot be under government control. Because if the government wants to control your rights, what do you need the Supreme Court for? That's like having the King of England still in charge of us. They made the decisions back there of the colonists, and the colonists were the lowest form of life in the British Empire. They wanted them stripped of their freedoms, stripped of the rights to own a firearm, stripped them of everything they do. We broke away from that. And to this day, every soldier, every man, woman who goes in the battlefield, puts that uniform and takes the oath to the Constitution and to the people, they continue that fight to this day to keep us free. Ironically, politicians believe we have too many freedoms, and they want to control them, like they want to control the Supreme Court, and that's dangerous. Because when you have a politician, when the justice or justices have to go to the political party and say, well, how do you want us to take this case, or you want us to pass it down the road? Well, they'll let us hear what the case is, and they'll tell them, oh, I guess pass it down the road. Even though it's your rights. Regardless of what it may be. Or they turn around and say, yeah, well, tell you what, rule it this way. Rule it that they don't have any rights to that case. We'll write it out for you. You read it out to them, and that's the way it goes, baby. Unless it's for them and then they'll rule differently. That's not fair. It's so damn fair that somebody go in the courtroom and say, well, yeah, I'm a Republican, but I'm going to be tried by a bunch of Democrats. I'm going to be guilty because of my affiliation with a different party. Is it fair? No. That's why we pay organizations like GOA, FBC, and so many other organizations to represent us, because politicians don't, even though we pay them, we elect them in office to do just that. And they're scrutinized to it. Ortiz wants to follow rules of impeachment against Clarence Thomas and a couple of justices, and for what? Because they didn't rule in their favor, or they don't like their ruling. Is that fair? No. When you want to control the Supreme Court, you're going to control everything. You're going to control everything. There won't be no more three separate branches of government. It'll be one branch of government under one rule. And that's under the political party. Regardless who you elect to office. We decide who you pick. We decide who we want up here. We decide your rights. We decide what you need. We tell you yes or no. We tell you don't go here. We tell you don't go there. Because we rule. That's not the way it works. People, you gotta get a hold of these politicians and get a hold of them hard. Let them know that this is wrong. The founders were clear when they did this. They made it very, very clear for the three branches of government, because no one branch of government will have too much power. That is the why they separated it. Is Clarence Thomas right? Justice Thomas? Yes, he is. Now, they probably say, well, no, because he didn't rule the way we want him to rule. Or these are bad decisions. Now, if he goes through all this research, oh, well, he's not a historian, so how can you rule that way? So now you want to get your political historians out there and turn everything around. Or you want to pack the courts and turn everything around back to your way, which we're trying to stay away from. Leave the damn courts alone. It's bad enough that the smaller courts under these controlled states of Democrats rule in their favor all the time, because we don't like the decisions, or we don't like your constitutional rights, or we don't want to hear your constitution because it doesn't exist here. So yeah, you're free. You celebrate 4th of July every year. You celebrate Independence Day. Why you do that? If you're going to allow these politicians to control your courts, your justices, or these politicians to control the justices, these politicians control your life, are you free? Or are you a slave? Your rights belong to you. They're paid for in blood. To this day, every man, woman wears a uniform out in that battlefield, or in the air, or on that naval ship out there, are going to pay the price for your freedom, not by the politicians. Tell them, keep your hands off the Supreme Court. Till then, keep your friends and family close, and don't be afraid to call these people. It's yours. You take care.